trained, people want to know more about our AI models. So the question is, after it sends, do AI models keep learning and get better after every game?
Yeah. So this is a good question too, because in some ways it does, in some ways it doesn't. And let me explain what that means. So when you train the model, that's when all of the weights inside the model are set. And that is based on the training data that was used at the time that you created the model. So the model itself doesn't change, but because the inputs to the model when it makes a new prediction are the current team statistics, you will see that it will get more accurate as the course of the season goes on, because rather than it using the preseason estimates of where we think teams are going to be, we'll have more on-field data. So the team performance gets more exact as you go on. And then as that goes through the model, the prediction will be more precisely based on that team's performance. So in some ways, yes, it does get smarter, but it gets smarter not because the model itself is changing, but because the information about the teams gets more exact as the season goes on, and we have more on-field data to base that team performance on.
So when we talk about on-field data, I think one thing that, again, a lot of people love in sports betting, especially now, is player props. So can we just talk real quickly about player props and when we can expect them in the app and how people are going to be using them?
Yeah, absolutely. So the player prop models are going through the test right now. We needed to get the 53-man rosters finalized for NFL. Those came out earlier this week. We got our depth charts brought in, and we're going through the internal testing right now on those. So you should see them come out. It was exciting. A lot of the to score a touchdown odds came out last week, which really made it feel like we're getting close. So we'll see more of those prop markets open up here over the next couple days. And we'll turn that on in the app here as well in the next couple days once we go through our testing environment and make sure everything is ready for our users to go. And that's a really exciting part of it. There is an addition that we're making. One of the things that we were hoping to bring in is coming very soon as well, and that is tracking of your bets within props as well. So you can see when you make a prop bet, you can see how it's doing, and you'll get to see the same kind of insights you get with your models and seeing how the props are performing by bet type, by teams. You'll be able to break that down and see exactly how you're doing and improve your betting process. So that's an exciting addition for this season that we're happy to bring in and should make the product even better.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of my favorite pieces, is that our props allow you to find the players that you would never look for. So when you're going to watch a random game, best prop may be somebody that's like the fourth string receiver. And then all of a sudden, you'll never forget that fourth string receiver the rest of the season. You're going to be betting on them and backing that now with the ability to. So that's a great feature that we're adding.
What's smart about that, there's a pretty common phrase, which is it's not the bet, it's the price. And you see that especially there, right? Like in the to score a touchdown market, all the players that you think of that come to mind immediately, the running back ones, the wide receiver ones, typically have so much juice on them that it actually is not a positive EV bet many times. Now there's ways it could happen where that goes if it's mispriced a little bit, but in general, you'll find the most value, the best prices on those bets that may not be the running back ones or wide receiver ones. And that's where it is exciting. It comes down to, can that guy get that one big play when they get their attempts? Are they breaking that tackle or are they going to get stopped?
Yeah. So with our premium models, we are allowed to build custom factors. And I think that's something that to some people, they may not understand exactly what that means. And to those that know what that means, they're like, this is the best thing in the world. So I think, can you break down the factor building process a little bit, how it's valuable, and then maybe some best practices for how somebody can do that?
Yeah. So the factors in general, if you're not familiar with modeling, if you're not familiar with how to pull things together, the idea of a factor may be a little bit foreign to you as well. In the data science world, oftentimes called feature engineering, is where you take the raw data and you change the data to highlight features, which are characteristics of the thing you're modeling that highlight specific aspects and that are predictive. And we've done that. So if you don't have that experience, we do it for you. And those are in the core. Those are the factors, the 5 factors that you start with: offense and defense, and running, passing, and team rank are the football ones. And we've done that. But a lot of questions we got, especially from our more experienced folks, were like, well, what exactly are the stats that go into offense? And just so that other people can't copy our exact model, we've always kind of hidden that one. But what we do have is, like you said, at the premium level, you can build your own factor. So if you want a running factor, you can go in and say, I think explosiveness is important, so I'm going to pick our longest run per game. And I think that consistency is also important, so I'm going to have in there yards per carry. So you can go exactly into the stats that you want to be able to pull into that, make your own factor, and then incorporate that into your model, however you want to build those. So now you don't need us to say what's in it, because you can go in and answer that yourself by building your own factors.
Yeah, I think that the added level of personalization, taking pride in that is such a fun part of like my Sundays now. It's like, and your models start to build personality, especially if you're watching games with the same people every weekend. They kind of know, they're like, oh, dude, that's your Sunday special model. Or, obviously I'm everything's Philly based, so I name my things after my favorite players. But I think that's a really fun part of it, is when you have that ownership, it makes you feel more confident in your decisions and especially your successes.
Yeah.
And speaking of somebody who's definitely had that happen for themselves, our guy Kyle Kennedy, he's been with us from the start. He is a premium user and he makes some phenomenal models, and his per drive efficiency stats have always been good for his models. So again, he's somebody that's really tested everything that he's done. He knows exactly how he wants to build, and he's had success with it. So Kyle is somebody that can attest to the value of building his own factors.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to do is a lot of times people think in terms of like raw stats, right? Like what is the total rushing yards per game? But that being able to give the option for people to say, I want this on a per game basis or a per drive basis, it matters so much when you look at efficiency in what you do with the ball, and being able to normalize that by per drive for football, or like we have for basketball on a per possession basis. Being able to capture that underlying the question of how good are they when they have the ball is really important in getting those options to people to build their own models with those different kinds of stats that aren't just pure counting stats of how many yards per game someone has is really important to me.
We have a good question here about the factor building process. Going back to that, if you wanted to build the defensive oriented factor with sacks and interceptions per play, along with whatever else they wanted to mix in, could that cause confusion in the model, or would that be something that would still be valuable?
Yeah, so I think it wouldn't. What I think about in terms of the right way to normalize something is not. I wouldn't include it as an absolute number and then per drive and then per play, because that is what we call collinearity, where those numbers are going to be largely the same. And when you're doing a regression model, and this has 2 different kinds of a nonlinear and a linear regression model, so 2 different kinds of regressions involved, it is difficult for the training process if you have 2 things that are too similar to each other. So I would actually I would only include it once and not have it 3 times with different normalizations. And then take the normalization that's most meaningful for that particular event. So for runs, for example, I would try and put that in terms of more like on a per game basis. What is the run mix? But touchdowns are really important, probably more so on a drive basis, because a touchdown is a drive ending event. Punts are drive ending events. Interceptions are a drive ending event. So if you say interceptions per possession, what you're saying is of the opponent's possessions, how many of those end in an interception? That makes more sense than having it just purely on a per play or a per game basis. So yeah, I would pick the one that is the way to normalize it that's most relevant to that play and bring it in only one time.
All right, Brian, as we wrap up here, I have to bring up the fact that one of your alma maters had a heck of a weekend last weekend in Georgia Tech, to kick off college football out in Dublin. So quite the start to college football for you. Is there anything that you have your eyes on this weekend? We have 96 games this weekend. A lot of games. It's a lot of football. Games out there. We have predictions for every single one next to the models you've built with Rithmm. So is there anything you have your eyes on this weekend? And then obviously we got NFL next week. So it is truly football season. But
I'm going to start with the NFL because you have the personality flaw of being from Philadelphia. I have the flaw about being from Wisconsin. So we got the rumble down under or whatever happening there, where we're gonna see which of these teams is going to be on the right track at the beginning. That's gonna be a fun game.
Well, there's another layer that I just found out about besides the whole can't wear green thing that they were talking about. Apparently the air quality is so bad right now because of like wildfires or something that's going on that people are getting ridiculously sick just by standing outside. So you want to talk about hard-nosed football. They're going to be playing in gang territory where they can't breathe, and it's going to be an interesting game. But, look, I don't know what to expect out of the Eagles this year. All I know is that Jordan Love, there we go. We got somebody in here saying go Birds. That's what I like to see. Shout out Austin. I went to the Eagles-Packers game 2 years ago when Aaron Rodgers was still the quarterback, and he got taken out at the game, and it was Jordan Love's shining moment. He came in and led the Packers on 2 scoring drives in 3 minutes, and I was like, man, is this guy actually good? Turns out he was. So it's going to be a good game, I think, but hopefully my Eagles can take it from you guys.
Yeah, and hopefully it comes down to on-field play, and it's not things like the smoke making people not be able to breathe. That's the thing that makes the game happen.
Well, again, the luck of Philadelphia means that I'm sure one of our star players will somehow be affected by that, and we'll lose in horrific fashion as a result. But hopefully not, and hopefully it's just a great football game, and I'm sure it will be. But can't believe it's only about a week away.
No, that's great. And now moving to college, one that I got on early was so last year I was pretty interested in how Coastal Carolina was going to do. They had a quarterback who had a hell of a year a couple of years ago, and then did not perform to that same level last year. And I think it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup tonight with Coastal against Jacksonville State. And I got in early. I think I put that Sunday was down on Jacksonville State -2.5. I love that being under the key number of 3, and have gotten some pretty good CLV. It's gotten up to 3 and is now juiced a little bit at 115. So I like that. I think the line's moving in the right direction. It'll be a fun game. Should be a lot going on in that game. So that's one for tonight that I'm excited to look at for sure.
It's a big night here in the Northeast. We got Rutgers and we got Temple both playing tonight. So we got the Temple's playing Oklahoma. I think they're 41-point underdogs. So we'll see if they can stay within the realm of there. And then it's Rutgers versus Howard. So I'm on Rutgers there, spread a money line. So the money line's about +4 or -400. So I think that one will hit. But the spread I think is 28.5. So hopefully it'll be an exciting offensive game where they can score some points.
So one other one that I've been surprising myself on where my model is and where I'm coming down to is I like Colorado -9.5. Last year I was, and my favorite producing model was against Colorado, and we had some internal bets here at Rithmm that I won betting against Coach Prime, but I think they're going to come out. He's a great motivator. Game 1 is as much about emotion and preparation as it is about anything else. And I think he's gonna bring that team out ready to play like they started the year strong last year. So I like them in that game as well.
people forget that they had basically an entirely new roster that was mixed in with people who were like told that they were not going to play it. Like they had a weird year last year, and they have. I think it was we did a video on this. It was like 70 something new people this year. So they got new players, but they were recruited by
this year too. He kept making the moves, and I think there's 30 new guys. The portal, everyone's doing that.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. This is his first time really having, his full recruits. So let's see. Kyle says Colorado wins and covers. North Dakota State isn't the powerhouse they used to be. That's because Carson Wentz isn't there anymore, Kyle. How could they possibly be like Carson Wentz? You'll never match that type of quarterback. Him and Trey Lance used to run the show in college football. But it'll be an exciting game. Anytime you see Shedeur Sanders on the field and Travis Hunter, Shedeur signed his Nike deal. Everybody's talking about that. So we'll see if they can keep up what they started with last year and hopefully not fall off again. But anytime Deion's on TV, people will be watching. So we'll be watching.
The portal does make it interesting and fun and a little bit more uncertainty, especially early in the year. But the teams, as a grad of a college that did not reach out and use the portal at all this year, the Air Force Academy. It's really hard to get a junior to transfer into the Air Force Academy, but they're taking a different approach. They're going after Merrimack College this weekend, so I think they should be able to beat them up pretty good. But
that's a bit. If you lose to a D2 school to start your season, it's kind of like college basketball. Your season's going to end up not well.
That's gonna be rough.
Kyle, I'm wearing the glasses because I think hopefully this makes me a little bit smarter. I'm trying to match Brian. How do you match a guy that's a PhD? But I think Mike McDaniel and I would get along really well. So, Mike, I know you're probably out there watching this, but let's link up. I think I'm trying to take your shtick. But all right. Well, thanks for tuning in, people. Have a great first weekend of college football. Again, this is the time to shine. We got predictions for all 96 games this weekend. It's a lot of football, a lot of value for everybody out there. Enjoy it. And if you have other questions, you can hit us up on Discord. You can tweet at us, message us. We are here to help you be a smarter sports bettor. Brian, again, thanks for answering some of these questions, and we appreciate everything you've done to build Rithmm.
No, we appreciate everyone using it and the great ideas they come back. It's all about making it better and having more fun and being more successful.
We're just getting started. We'll be here, probably at least once a week doing some live shows for you guys. We'll have our partners doing live shows. We have a lot of content coming this football season, and we're excited to be here with you. So awesome. Have a good one, everybody. Happy opening day of college football.
See ya.